Dear Helia, this last day has been something. The type of something has yet to be determined. As always, dealing with the vault and outsider bullshit, it's been strange and unusual and precisely what you would expect. When Blardral was talking about undead creatures, he mentioned that whatever was forming them formed them like we might wood or metal. I don't think I fully grasped what he meant till we caught our first glimpse of one of its creatures. Undead, flesh-molded creatures. Gruesome creatures designed for function. What function? I will come back to. Creatures with multiple hands, arms, bodies, heads, and legs. One that could be made entirely out of hands, while another out of legs. Watching them move was like watching a marionette, and the person pulling the strings only had a vague idea of how humans worked. For example, a creature had a limb that resembled an arm, made from arms put together with other arms to extend the reach and make the arm stronger. The outsider had placed hands on the arm in place of fingers, which, given the size, would do the job, I suppose. Very surreal, like something pretending to know the operations and workings of a humus, but only from watching. Their function? Blardral mentions this as well. He mentions that they seem to act in protection to the artifact, that they only seem to act if directly attacked, or, according to Blardral, if the artifact was touched. We began to work our way through the creatures, destroying as many as we could, slowly picking them off. If you're wondering why, I would point my finger at the crew. There are a few of the crew that are shoot first, ask questions later. And normally, I might group myself in there, but there's certain things I know better about. The vault has always and will always have my attention. Situations like this one are the reason why. Things are never what you expect. You and I both learned this lesson hard. The creatures do only seem to activate when touched or interacted with. One of them made it to the ship, and Helia, when it touched the ship, it began to control the ship. The helm was fighting the will of the creature. The pressure and direction change fell back to normal when the creature was removed from the ship, which brought me to the conclusion of a couple of things. Anything the creature touched could be controlled. Likely even a humus, a living, breathing one. We managed to get enough attention from the outsider. We drew out what hit the bumpy descent. I think it was a massive arm-like thing made from flesh, pushing a ship broadside towards the Mon Cavalier. There was no crew on that ship, but it was firing its cannons at us. I assume the outsider just looks for nearby wrecks to use. While none I can think of recently should be in the area, the ship looked like it was from the war. Which is to say, it's been down in the vault for at least as long as I have been alive. It might have been a Shar ship. My brain keeps going back to the ship we saw near the other sighting, where Blardral first found it. The one with the dead outsider that ran through the whole ship. We weren't sure if it was alive or dead till we investigated fully. After clearing as many as we could and sifting through some of the debris, we sent in a small team to see if we could track down Blardral. We found him, his body. He was curled around the artifact, a dried out kind of corpse, just staring at a broken open box that contained the artifact. I do not doubt that this thing is a part of the outsider that's controlling the creatures. The thing is powerful enough to have a defense system such as these creatures. Even if it's a defensive knee-jerk, this is God territory. As Blardral half mentioned in his notes, heart of a god. I would argue a small piece of its brain, but I think it doesn't even matter what part it is. it can send this much essence of itself through it. The only time we've encountered something like this before was over in Samoa, in the area where nightmares plagued sailors. They were going mad if they stayed in the zone too long. This realization I shared with the small team I took to find Blardral. I told them to keep their intentions on the fact that we were there to get Blardral, not the artifact. Anything we touched might be connected to the outsider. We needed to be clear that we weren't here for its artifact. I also realized that while its defenses were formidable, we did manage to whittle them down. I felt the need to let the creature know that it was exposed now. I placed my hand on a small chunk of the deck we found the artifact on and sent out my offer to move the artifact to a different location, one that might once more be safe. Yes, I am well aware that this could have got me killed or thralled. I felt bad, okay? In turn, I got a taste of pure anger from the outsider. Not at me, but at the images it sent me. I think the humus in the images. Humus discussing how the artifact could change the tide of the war, and how they had found its location once more. That they were sending a retrieval team. I can't tell if the outsider wants the artifact to be found or not. Or maybe it's mad that it's being used for war? I can tell you, it's f***ing pissed to the high skies over it. Morgan bit my nose to bring me out of whatever state I was in. I would be mad if I wasn't fully aware he saved me from a fate probably similar to Blardral's. He knew full well that touching that artifact would get him killed. This is where I'm guessing he tried something similar to what I did and became overwhelmed by the emotions of the outsider. No second to pull him back. I've seen a lot of weird things in the vault and have heard just about as many, if not more, tales of things in the vault. Is Blardral dead? Have I touched and identified his corpse? Yes, but it's the vault, and he's a vault diver. I would not be surprised if he somehow came back from the dead. Maybe in the same way you're still alive. Maybe in some weird, twisted way involving an outsider? When we first met Blardral, me and Samara had a lengthy conversation about deals with outsiders. He also seems to have the luck I do, in which, I mean, he escapes the vault when he probably shouldn't. It just seems like his corpse is not really him. I don't know how to explain it. One of those gut feelings, I guess. It's like when Mr. Goodman told me to hold his hat. Or was it his jacket? The details are lost on me now. Just the fact that I watched him get killed, and then a week later he was as if it never happened, asking for the return of this item. Regardless of what I think, we will be sending his body back to his crew. A small detour back to port. That's the right logical thing to do. The expected outcome. The sane outcome. The day ended with us meeting the False Horizon and Morden. Getting paid for an actual job. Even if it was just a front for us to smoke out spies. I think. Morden still left it vague and, as always, didn't confirm or deny anything that might be seen as him taking sides. There was a discussion about the stranger Shep encountered at the bar, also likely a spy. I wasn't overly paying attention. Mentions of what the outsider showed me in Blardral, a strong lack of any mention of the island, but I did introduce Lana to him. Part of me wants to just distract him from you, but you would know better than me how he is. Grief has 6 stages. Which is he at? I honestly don't know. He placed most of his cards close to his chest. You and a few select others are and were lucky enough to see them. Signed, yours always, Born Mad Hades.